Peace to the collective. How's everyone? I wanted to read what's on the back of my registration. The reason why I wanted to read it to you guys is because I wanted you to get a clear understanding of why these police officers and judges and lawyers and all of them, they get shook up when they read the back of my registration. And I wanted to read this to you so you can get a clear visual or a clear understanding of why it's so important to recognize your heritage. But this is what it says on the back of my registration. It says, for the Aborigines identity of the brown tawny skin, bushy wavy hair of the original inhabitants of the so-called North Americas, or with the false classification of the nations of the Anasazi people by the European race, by the Dutch, by the Scottish, by the Irish, by the Germans, by the Spanish, by the Russians, by the French, by the British, by the Christian Church, by the Catholic Church, and by the United States Corporation of the Great Britain invaders of the elimination of the heritage lineage, for the sovereignty in the North Americas of the Anasazi nations, as the Olmecs, as the Mayans, as the Aztecs, as the Incas, as the Choctaws, as the Osage, as the Yamasee, as the Kuso, as the Kusabo, as the Chicora, as the Stono, as the Ottawa, as the Cherokee, as the Seminoles, as the Creeks, as the Muscogees, as the Pawnee, as the Cohoches, as the Indian with the lack of the names of the many thousand lineages, and of the civilization of the mound builders with the false identity as the Negro, as the mulatto, as the colored, as the Black American, as the Afro-American on the documents of the law with the certification. This is why they get shook up. And, you know, we all have to answer to someone. You know what I mean? Don't think for 1 minute that the United States Corporation does not have to answer to the international community or the UN. Every lawyer, every judge, every police officer has to answer to the international courts when they do something illegal concerning Indigenous American Indian, heritage. But that doesn't just include, American Indians. We're talking about indigenous people all over the world, because they all come together to recognize indigenous people within the charter of the United Nations. They recognize us. So there's certain laws, within the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People that, all continents have to follow when dealing with indigenous peoples, not just indigenous American peoples, but indigenous peoples, period. So I wanted to share that with you because a lot of people are, I'm really sharing what I'm sharing is I'm sharing the law part of it. You know what I mean? If you go onto UN.org and put in the search bar the High Commissioner for Human Rights, or put in I think it's UN DRIP, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and those are all of our rights, you know what I mean, as Indigenous American Indian. Those are our rights for all indigenous people, not just us, for all indigenous people. So I hope I was able to, get you guys to get a clear understanding of why these lawyers and judges and police officers get shook up, or they get upset about it. What's on the back of my indigenous registration. If you want, I'm gonna read it one more time so you can get it. I'm gonna read it one more time here. It says here, for the Aborigines identity of the brown tawny skinned, bushy, wavy hair of the original inhabitants of the so-called North Americas, or with the false classification of the nations of the Anasazi people by the European race, by the Dutch, by the Scottish, by the Irish, by the Germans, by the Spanish, by the Russians, by the French, by the British, by the Christian Church, by the Catholic Church, and the United States Corporation of the Great Britain invaders for the elimination of the heritage lineage for the sovereignty in the North Americas of the Anasazi nations, as the Olmecs, as the Mayans, as the Aztecs, as the Incas, as the Choctaws, as the Osage, as the Yamasee, as the Kuso, as the Kasabo, as the Chicora, as the Stono, as the Ottawa, as the Cherokee, as the Seminoles, as the Creeks, as the Muscogee, as the Pawnee, as the Cohoches, as the Indians, with the lack of the names of the many thousand lineages of the civilization of the mound builders, with the false identity as the Negroes, as the mulattoes, as the coloreds, as the Black Americans, as the Afro-Americans on the documents of the law with the certification. So this is what it states on the back of my indigenous registration. Okay, and this is what they read when they pull me over, you know, if I get tickets, you know what I mean. This is real, people. This is real. This is no game to me. This is not something that, you know, I choose to just broadcast to, you know. I mean, I got other things that I could be doing, you know. I'm not sitting here trying to, you know, why would I be sitting here wasting my time telling a bunch of lies? You know, that doesn't make any sense, you know. But, you know, of course, everyone has their opinion, you know. Opinion just like an anus. Everybody got one, you know. And I'm just here to share my experiences and the truth, you know, because there's it's power in numbers, you know. And if enough of us recognize ourselves on who we are, we could get more done. We could get more established, you know. If enough of us are registered, and like I said, when I get a response from the UN, I would definitely, you know, let you guys know, because, you know, there's power in numbers. You know, I was sacrificing myself out there, you know, getting my paperwork or getting my registration in the veins of the United States Corporation. I was getting it in the system so that the younger generation and our generation wouldn't have to go through what I had to go through. A lot of people, that the comments that they're missing the point. They're really missing the point, you know, especially when it comes to the laws and the laws that they're supposed to follow when dealing with indigenous American Indian peoples, you know. But I can't spoon feed you, you know. The people that, you know, seem to want to be in a debate. I mean, come on, man. You know, like, it's no time for that, you know. And so I just, you know, wanted to share that with you because, you know, like I said, it's power in numbers, you know. And then enough of us recognize ourselves, then the approaches on how they handle us in the court systems, and when you're being pulled over for speeding tickets and things, they have to handle you differently. You know, when they don't recognize you, you know, then they just recognizing you as chattel property, you know, or recognizing you as a Black American or African American, where you have an identity as an indigenous American Indian. They have to handle you differently. They can't handle you. Yeah, they're gonna get mad, they're gonna get upset or whatever, but they still gotta handle you correctly based on the agreements and the treaties that were written by ancient ancestors. You know, I'm not here to try to save the whole damn world. Some of y'all got this, you know, you got to save yourself. you know? And it was always been taught to me, when a student is ready, the teacher will teach. The teacher ain't gonna sit there and waste time trying to reach one that doesn't understand at that particular time. When he's ready, the teacher will teach. You know? The teacher's gonna go ahead and teach the rest of the class. If he lacking behind, you know, he might have to seek some tutoring or something like that. But I mean, in the meantime, he or she's gonna teach the class until he's ready to be taught. You know, time waits for no man. Time is of the essence. You know? And I'm sharing this with you because there is hope. You know? We can make this happen. Like I said, there's power in numbers. You know? And if you know thyself and you understand what I'm saying, as a collective, we could get a lot accomplished, a lot done, you know? And like I said, I mean, don't believe me, check it out. Go under un.org, go into the search bar, okay? Put in the Foundation for Indigenous American of Anasazi Heritage and see what pop up. And that's what I'm registered under. That's within the charter of the United Nations. All you got to do is go into un.org, put in the search bar the Foundation for Indigenous American of Anasazi Heritage, and see, won't it pop up? And guaranteed, you know, leave your message in the comments. I guarantee you it's going to pop up. And that's what I'm registered. That's the foundation that I'm registered under. That is recognized within the charter of the United Nations. So, another morning, got to get to work. You know, I'm getting ready to go and clock in. But peace and blessings to everyone. I'll talk to you real soon. Peace.